It is October 23rd, 2025. XRP is currently valued at $2.39, down roughly 1.17% on the daily time frame, and the bears are becoming increasingly louder. With there only being roughly 2 months left of the year, there is now a growing belief that there is only 2 months left of the bull cycle. That is what history has shown us time and time again. Every 4 years, Bitcoin tops and then we go through a 1 to 2 year correction phase. The difference is, it's different this time round, believe it or not. Wall Street expert Tom Lee has confirmed in 2 separate interviews that the 4-year cycle has already come to an end and crypto is being driven by a macro liquidity cycle. The business earnings are increasing and accelerating this fourth quarter. Rate cuts and quantitative easing is also incoming. Because of this, the Xrp Bullrun has not got 2 months left, but actually a lot longer to go. Listen very closely here to these 2 interviews with Tom Lee.
Tom, I wanted to hear from you as we close in on this milestone. As I said, earnings, economy, rate cuts, even those who say valuation, I don't love it, they fall back on the former, which is why they believe that this move isn't over.
I'm in that camp too, Scott. I think that, we're entering the sort of critical last 10 weeks of the year at a time when not only earnings are good, but we have a Fed that's going to be in an easing cycle. I think there's going to be some good news eventually on the shutdown. And then we know that there was already a bit of deleveraging that took place about 10 days ago because of that VIX spike and the headlines. And so there's going to be, I think, a setup for a chase into year end. So I think all of this means that the S&P can close at least at 7,000. I actually think that's a low number by the end of the year.
You still do. So you must be a big believer then that the mega cap earnings that we're going to really get into next week are going to deliver.
That's right. Because I'm getting the sense that AI visibility has actually improved. And I think that there's actually payback companies are seeing. And as they start to think about 2026, that's a priority for spend. So visibility should be improving. And then we have potentially lower interest rates next year, which is going to put some easing burdens on households and consumers. And as you know, the ISM's been below 50 for 32 months. I mean, that eventually gets back above 50 at a time when we're seeing onshoring. So I mean, there's plenty of catalysts as people think about the next 12 months.
If someone wanted to understand the use case for Bitcoin, and there's many, but they're not too, they don't have a lot of conviction around something, to me, I can say easily it should supplant gold. And so I think Bitcoin should be, over $1 million over time. And then I kind of prescribing to the view that there's probably a chance that maybe the 4-year cycle is ending for Bitcoin because of the way institutional adoption of that thesis is taking place. And so you have institutional and essentially permanent holders of Bitcoin coming in. So it should be good. I mean, so I think Bitcoin should really build upon this 120 before the end of the year. So, 200,000, maybe 250.
This is what all the institutional reports have been telling us. If you've been doing your research at least, you would have seen they've been reporting about the fact that crypto tends to follow the Bitcoin halving, but that is no more. Instead, what really matters is the macroeconomic trends. What matters is the increasing regulatory developments and the institutional migration into crypto. We are still got a lot more time. In fact, we are less than a month now away until SWIFT, the global messaging system for finance, and 91% of all financial institutions, until they all migrate to the ISO 20022 standard, becoming interoperable with blockchain, interoperable with XRP. This big bang vertical leap is a massive game-changing catalyst that will cause an explosive run for ISO-compliant assets, explosive run for assets like XRP, again only valued at $2.39. XRP, to be this world reserve asset, it cannot be this cheap. XRP will reign supreme because the institutional adoption of crypto is also another catalyst that will result in an extended cycle. I'm talking about ETFs here. We are actually still awaiting for the approval of many altcoin ETFs. Apparently there are now 155 and counting. 23 for Solana and Bitcoin, 20 for XRP, 16 for Ethereum. There are 10 baskets and then it goes down from there. Litecoin, AVAX, Doge, and so on. And apparently at this pace, Eric Bolchinus, the senior ETF analyst at Bloomberg, believes we will probably hit 200 within the next year, which is insane. That's absolutely nuts to think that we could see 200 that soon. But here's the thing. Solana has the most right now, so it looks like Solana's the best, but that's not the case. XRP doesn't have the most ETF filings right now, but they most definitely have the most institutional FOMO, as we can hear in this interview from Nasdaq confirming that institutional interest is expanding beyond Bitcoin into tokens like XRP. Take a listen.
I also think it's encouraging, Nick, that we're seeing it broaden out beyond Bitcoin and we're starting to understand the fundamentals and other applications when you think about the institutional use cases for the digital asset space.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that the early kind of mover in this was Bitcoin particularly. But the way that I really like to see this is we're building a new financial wallet system. So if you picture tomorrow's wallet, we've got Bitcoin. So they're the digital gold. They sit inside and act as this finite supply, borderless transactions, and really self-custodied with a password, not a vault. Whether you're hedging inflation or sort of dodging local currency turmoil, very censorship resistant store of value. And then you've got Ethereum. So that's the app platform. So Ethereum's the wallet's app store. Smart contracts so that you trade, borrow, or earn yield without a bank. And owning ETH is really just like holding gas in a global financial operating system, one that's open source and runs 24/7. Then you've got XRP. So they're the cross-border bridge. And XRP works really behind the scenes as that instant FX bridge. So banks convert dollars to XRP, beam it abroad in 3 seconds, and cash it out in local currency, potentially cutting remittance fees from 7% to under 1%. And then you've got Solana, the high-speed rail. So Solana provides the commuter rail, really hundreds of transactions per second with very tiny fees. So your subway tap, in-game purchase, or loyalty point redemption could all ride on the Solana rails without you even noticing. Then we've got stablecoins. Stablecoins such as USDC act as tokenized dollars, really clearing anytime, anywhere, and fully backed by short-term treasuries. And they really marry crypto speed with the safety of US debt, turning your phone into sort of this real-time dollar account that you can spend worldwide. So this is really a suite of products that have very specific functions that are reimagining the entire financial stack, and it's really opening back up.
Now, if I was to hazard a guess as to why this is XRP over Solana and Bitcoin, well, it's because XRP, unlike Solana and Bitcoin, is ISO 20022 compliant. Therefore, it makes sense that institutions want XRP more than they want Solana or Bitcoin. Point being is, family, we still got a lot more time. This cycle's still got a lot longer to go. Once the government shutdown ends and the SEC has the manpower to approve the ETF filings, it will send XRP and crypto to the moon, going on a parabolic rally. So to find out more, stay more locked in, come check out the VIP group, wob.com/coinfactory. We have many other documentations in there, trade alerts, institutional source, and so much more. You get all out for free, 7-day free trial. Links down below in the description. And remember, as always, don't look short term, think long term, and I'll see you in the next one.